The Unseen Hunter. Commander Hana stared at the blood-stained walls of Mining Station 7, her stomach churning with familiar dread. 17 miners dead in 3 weeks. Each attack more brutal than the last, each scene more terrifying than her worst nightmares. "Show me the sensor readings again," she commanded, though she already knew what they would reveal. Science Officer Ben pulled up the holographic display. "Nothing, Commander. Same as always. Our most advanced detection systems show absolutely no trace of any creature. It's like it doesn't exist until it strikes." The silence in the control room was suffocating. Deep claw marks scarred the metal walls, cutting through reinforced steel like paper. Tools lay scattered across the floor, abandoned mid-use. But the worst part wasn't the destruction, it was the complete absence of warning signs. No screams. No distress calls. The creature killed fast and vanished without a trace. "What about the Zenturi tracker we hired?" Hana asked, though she dreaded the answer. Security Chief Tay's expression darkened. "Found him yesterday near the south tunnels. Same claw marks, same instant death." Hana felt ice form in her veins. The Zenturi were legendary hunters, capable of tracking prey across entire star systems. Their enhanced senses could detect a target from 50 miles away, their cybernetic eyes could see heat signatures through solid rock. If this creature could kill a Zenturi tracker, what hope did anyone have? "That makes 4 professional hunters in 2 days, Ben said quietly. "The Zenturi, 2 Kelvin military specialists, and that expensive Thraxian beastmaster. All dead." The room fell silent. Everyone understood the implications. This wasn't just a predator hunting miners anymore, it was hunting the hunters. Learning. Adapting. Getting smarter. Communications Officer Rena's voice cut through the tension. "Commander, message from Mining Central. They want a status report. They want to know when normal operations can resume." Hana knew what Mining Central really wanted. Results. The creature dead. The rare metals flowing again. The billions in profits protected. But what good were profits if everyone died trying to earn them? "Tell them we're exploring new solutions," she replied. "What new solutions?" Tay demanded. "We've tried everything. Military weapons are useless, the creature moves too fast. Our tracking equipment sees nothing. Even the psychic hunters found no mental trace. It's like this thing exists in some void between dimensions." Ben cleared his throat nervously. "Actually, Commander, I've been researching something." All eyes turned to the young science officer. Despite his youth, Ben had an encyclopedic knowledge of galactic species and their capabilities. If anyone had a fresh perspective, it would be him. "Go on," Hana encouraged. "We've tried all the advanced species," Ben began slowly. "High-tech hunters, military experts, psychic trackers. All the most sophisticated beings in the galaxy. But we haven't tried the newest species." "Which species?" Hana asked, though something in Ben's tone made her uneasy. "Humans." The control room erupted in disbelief. Tay actually laughed out loud. "Humans? Those primitive beings from that little blue planet? They barely discovered space travel a few decades ago. They use basic tools and simple weapons. What could they possibly do that our best hunters couldn't?" But Ben looked deadly serious. "That's exactly why they might work. Think about it, this creature defeats all our advanced technology. It knows how to avoid our sensors, our weapons, our tracking systems. But humans developed without advanced technology. They learned to hunt using only their minds and natural abilities. They tracked dangerous animals for thousands of years using methods we never bothered to learn." Hana studied Ben's earnest face. It sounded insane, but everything else had failed. 17 people were dead, and more would die unless she found a solution soon. "Do you know any human trackers?" she asked. I found records of one. His name is Jin. Lives in the mountain regions of Earth. The Earth authorities say he's never failed to find what he hunts. His family has been tracking for generations, they know secrets that were never written down in any database. Hana looked around the room. Her team's faces showed everything from skepticism to outright disbelief. She felt the same doubts gnawing at her. But what choice did she have? Contact Earth, she decided. Ask for this Jin person. Offer him whatever he wants to come here. Commander, Tay protested, are you sure about this? A primitive human tracker. Our best hunters are dead, Tay. Our miners are terrified. Something has to change. Hana straightened her shoulders, feeling the weight of command. Maybe primitive is exactly what we need. The human arrives. 3 days later, the supply transport touched down at the main landing dock with a thunderous roar. Commander Hana waited with her team, unconsciously holding her breath. She had spent sleepless nights wondering if she'd made the right decision. Bringing a primitive human to solve a problem that had stumped the galaxy's most advanced hunters seemed beyond desperate, it seemed foolish. The transport's cargo bay opened with a mechanical hiss, releasing a cloud of steam into the alien atmosphere. Hana expected to see a large, intimidating warrior emerge, laden with exotic weapons and mysterious Earth technology. Instead, a quiet man stepped out wearing simple brown clothes and carrying only a small leather pack. Jin was unremarkable in every way that mattered to galactic civilization. No cybernetic enhancements glinted from his limbs. No energy weapons hung from his belt. No scanning equipment adorned his chest. He looked like what he was, a primitive human from a backwater planet that had only recently joined the galactic community. He walked directly to Hana and stopped, his dark eyes calm and patient. He said nothing, simply waited. Are you Jin? Hana asked, fighting to keep doubt from her voice. Yes, he replied quietly. We need your help. A dangerous creature is killing our people. We can't find it or stop it. Will you help us track it? Jin studied her face for a long moment, as if reading something written there that only he could see. Finally, he nodded once. Thanks, Father Boss, he said quietly. Hana blinked in confusion. Father Boss? What does that mean? She looked at Ben, who shrugged helplessly. None of them understood human customs, but Jin was here. He had agreed to help. Maybe his strange words were simply his way of accepting the contract. Good, Hana said. We'll show you everything we know about this creature. Jin nodded again. Thanks, Father Boss. As they walked toward the command center, Hana wondered if she had made a terrible mistake. This quiet human seemed so unprepared, so utterly outmatched by the challenge ahead. Could he really succeed where the galaxy's most sophisticated hunters had failed? Behind them, the transport prepared for departure. Soon Jin would be alone on this dangerous planet with only his simple tools and whatever ancient knowledge his family had passed down through generations. In the command center, Ben pulled up all the data they had collected about the creature. Holographic displays showed attack sites, sensor readings, and forensic analysis. The information filled the room with glowing charts and three-dimensional models. Jin looked at the displays with mild interest, but his attention seemed focused elsewhere. While the alien officers pointed excitedly at various technical readouts, he walked to the large viewing window and stared out at the mining colony. These are our most advanced sensor readings, Ben explained, highlighting complex waveforms and energy signatures. As you can see, we detect nothing unusual before, during, or after each attack. Jin turned from the window. Show me the places, he said simply. Places? Ben asked. Where it killed. We can show you detailed holographic recreations, offered Science Officer Yuna. Our scanners captured every molecule of each crime scene. You can examine them here in perfect detail. Jin shook his head. Need to be there. Need to smell. Need to feel. The alien officers exchanged confused glances. Their technology could analyze matter at the subatomic level. What could human senses possibly detect that their instruments had missed? But Commander Hana had made her decision. "Show him what he wants to see," she ordered. As they prepared to visit the attack sites, Hana caught herself studying the strange human. Everything about him contradicted galactic understanding of effective hunting. He carried no weapons, no sensors, no communication devices. He asked no technical questions and showed no interest in their advanced equipment. Yet something in his calm demeanor suggested he knew exactly what he was doing. Perhaps Ben was right. Perhaps the solution to their high-tech problem lay not in more advanced technology, but in something far more primitive and fundamental. The hunt was about to begin, and for the first time in weeks, Hana felt a flicker of hope. Ancient methods. The next morning, Jin knelt at the edge of Mining Station 7, his bare hands pressed against the blood-stained ground. The alien security team watched him with growing frustration. They had expected him to deploy advanced scanning equipment or request satellite support. Instead, the human just sat there, touching dirt. "What is he doing?" Security Officer Wu whispered to Commander Hana. Wu carried 3 different sensors and a plasma rifle capable of punching through armor plating. Her equipment could detect movement through solid rock, but this primitive human was just sitting there. Jin moved slowly around the attack site, ignoring the sophisticated aliens watching his every move. He picked up fragments of broken metal and sniffed them carefully. He touched the deep claw marks on the walls and closed his eyes, as if listening to something only he could hear. Most disturbing of all, he tasted a small dark stain on the ground. "This isn't working," Wu muttered. "We need real tracking equipment, not this primitive nonsense." Scientist Yuna raised her quantum scanner, its display flickering with complex readouts. "Let me analyze his methodology. Perhaps there's logic we're not seeing." She pointed the device at Jin as he examined a broken tree branch near the station. The scanner beeped frantically, displaying incomprehensible data streams. Jin wasn't following any recognizable scientific method. He took no measurements, recorded no samples, made no notes. He simply observed with his natural senses. "The scanner shows nothing useful," Yuna reported. "He's not collecting quantifiable data. I don't understand his process at all." After 2 hours, Jin stood and walked to Communications Officer Kai. "Tell them I need to see the other places," he said quietly. Kai translated for the group. "He wants to visit all 17 attack sites." "All of them?" Wu asked incredulously. "That will take days. We have faster ways to share information. Photos, videos, complete sensor recordings." Jin shook his head when this was translated. "Photos don't show everything. I need to smell each place, feel each place. The creature leaves signs that machines cannot see." The alien team exchanged bewildered glances. Their technology could measure phenomena smaller than atoms. Their scanners could penetrate solid matter and detect energy signatures across vast distances. What could human senses possibly find that their equipment had missed? But Commander Hana had committed to this course of action. "Show him what he wants to see," she ordered. For the next 3 days, Jin visited every attack site. At each location, he performed the same ritualistic examination. He touched surfaces, smelled the air, tasted stains, and listened to silence. The alien observers grew increasingly skeptical. "He's found nothing we didn't already know," Tay complained on the 3rd day. "No new evidence, no fresh insights. This is a waste of time." But Jin seemed to be building something in his mind, a picture invisible to everyone else. At the 15th site, he suddenly stopped mid-examination and tilted his head, like an animal hearing a distant sound. "It's learning," he said quietly. "Learning what?" Hana asked. "Your patterns. Your responses. How you hunt." Jin touched a claw mark on the wall. "It studies you while you study it. That's impossible, Ben protested. Our sensors would detect any observation attempt. Jin looked at him with something resembling pity. Not all watching uses machines. At the 17th and final site, Jin spent nearly 6 hours conducting his strange examination. The alien team grew restless, but he ignored their complaints. As the sun set, casting long shadows across the mining station, he finally stood. I know where it lives, he announced. The alien officers erupted in excited chatter. Where? Hana demanded. Show us on the map. Jin shook his head. No map. I take you there. But you stay far behind. It will smell your fear. Smell our fear? Wu laughed nervously. What kind of superstitious nonsense is that? Jin's dark eyes fixed on her. You carry death smell. All of you. The creature knows you're afraid to die. That's why it finds you so easily. And you're not afraid? Tay challenged. Jin considered this question seriously. I am afraid. But not of dying. I am afraid of failing the hunt. Different fear. Different smell. As they prepared to depart for the creature's lair, Hana found herself studying the enigmatic human. Nothing he said made sense according to galactic science, yet something about his quiet confidence was deeply reassuring. Perhaps ancient wisdom really could triumph where modern technology had failed. She was about to find out. The confrontation. Jin led them deep into the unexplored canyons beyond the mining colony, moving with a confidence that unnerved the alien team. He never consulted maps or GPS coordinates, yet he navigated the treacherous terrain as if following a clearly marked path. How does he know where he's going? Wu whispered to Tay. There are no landmarks out here. Tay checked his navigation equipment for the 10th time. We're completely off the grid. If something happens to us here, search teams will never find our bodies. But Jin pressed forward, occasionally stopping to examine scratches on rocks or sniff the air. To the aliens, these pauses seemed random, but Hana noticed a pattern. Each stop brought a subtle change in Jin's posture, as if he was reading an invisible trail. After 4 hours of hiking, Jin suddenly raised his hand for silence. The group froze, weapons ready, sensors scanning frantically. But their equipment detected nothing. It's close, Jin whispered. You stay here. Give me 1 hour. Absolutely not, Hana protested. We're not letting you face this thing alone. Jin's expression remained calm. If you come closer, it will run. Or it will kill you all. Your choice. Before anyone could argue further, he melted into the shadows between the canyon walls. One moment he was there, the next he had vanished completely. Where did he go? Ben demanded, frantically adjusting his sensors. I can't track him at all. Neither can our equipment, Yuna reported, her scanner displaying only static. It's like he doesn't exist. They waited in tense silence, weapons trained on the empty canyon ahead. Minutes crawled by like hours. Then, from somewhere in the maze of rock formations, they heard it, a sound unlike anything in their databases. It wasn't quite a roar, wasn't quite a scream. It resonated through the stone walls with a frequency that made their bones ache. The alien team pressed closer together, their advanced weapons suddenly feeling inadequate. What was that? Wu's voice cracked with fear. Before anyone could answer, they heard something even more impossible, human laughter. Jin's voice echoed through the canyon, relaxed and amused, as if he were having a casual conversation with an old friend. That's impossible, Tay muttered. The creature kills everything it encounters. It doesn't communicate. But they could hear Jin speaking, his words too distant to understand. The terrible roaring sound came again, but this time it seemed less threatening, almost curious. Then silence. Long, terrifying silence. We have to go help him, Hana decided, but Ben grabbed her arm. Commander, look. Jin emerged from the canyon shadows, walking slowly but steadily. Behind him, barely visible in the dim light, moved a shape that hurt to look at directly. It flowed rather than walked, its form shifting between states that the eye couldn't quite process. "Don't move," Jin called softly. "Don't point weapons. Don't run." The creature followed him like a massive pet, its alien presence filling the canyon with an otherworldly energy. As it drew closer, the alien team could see why their sensors had failed to detect it. The creature existed partially outside normal spacetime, its body phases shifting between dimensions. "Thanks, Father Boss," the creature said in a voice like grinding stone. It was addressing Jin, but its multifaceted eyes regarded the alien team with ancient intelligence. The alien stared in shock. The creature could speak. It was intelligent. And it had called Jin the same name he had used when addressing Commander Hana. "It's not a mindless beast," Jin explained calmly. "It's a refugee. Its home dimension collapsed. It's been trying to tell you this, but every time it approached, you attacked. It killed 17 people." Hana protested. The creature's form rippled with what might have been sadness. "Hungry. Afraid. Your hunters came with death smell. I defended myself." "The miners?" Tay demanded. "Why did you kill innocent miners?" "Accident," the creature's voice carried genuine remorse. "Your people taste of metal and fear. Made me sick. Made me angry. I did not mean to harm workers." Jin stepped between the creature and the alien team. "It calls everyone Father Boss or Mother Boss. It's how its species shows respect to those who provide shelter or food. It was trying to thank your miners for sharing their world. By killing them." Wu's weapon remained trained on the creature despite Jin's warnings. "By trying to communicate," Jin corrected. "But dimensional beings don't understand physical fragility. It was like you accidentally stepping on insects while trying to talk to them." The creature's form shimmered with distress. "I learn now. Small ones break easy. Sorry. I help fix." Commander Hana stared at this impossible scene. The galaxy's most dangerous predator was apologizing for misunderstanding their biology. The primitive human tracker had accomplished what their most advanced hunters couldn't. He had made first contact with an interdimensional refugee. "How?" she whispered. "How did you do this?" Jin smiled for the first time since arriving on the planet. "I listened instead of hunting." Resolution. 2 weeks later, Mining Station 7 buzzed with unprecedented activity. But instead of fear and death, the corridors filled with wonder and discovery. The creature, who had chosen the name Whisper for its attempts at dimensional communication, had become the colony's most valuable asset. Commander Hana watched through the observation deck as Whisper effortlessly extracted rare metals from deep rock formations, its dimensional abilities allowing it to phase materials directly through stone without damaging the surrounding ore. What had taken her miners weeks to accomplish, Whisper completed in hours. "Production is up 300%, Ben reported, still amazed by the transformation. "Whisper can access or deposits we never even knew existed." But the real miracle wasn't the increased efficiency, it was the absence of casualties. For the first time in months, no one had died in the mines. Whisper's dimensional senses could detect structural weaknesses and gas pockets before they became dangerous. "Thanks, Father Boss," Whisper's voice rumbled through the communication system as it delivered another load of precious metals. The creature had adapted its speech patterns to avoid the painful frequencies that had initially terrified the colonists. Jin sat quietly in the corner of the command center, preparing for his departure. His simple leather pack lay ready beside him, containing the same basic tools he had arrived with. He had refused all payment beyond transportation back to Earth, claiming the successful hunt was reward enough. "I still don't understand how you knew," Hana admitted, joining him by the viewing window. "Our best scientists couldn't figure out what Whisper was, but you solved the puzzle in days." Jin considered her question with his characteristic thoughtfulness. Your people hunt with machines. Very good for finding what you expect to find. But sometimes the prey is not what you expect. What made you think it might be intelligent? The pattern of kills, Jin explained. Random killings leave random signs. But these deaths followed rules, even if you couldn't see them. Rules mean intelligence. Intelligence means someone trying to communicate. Tay approached with his final security report. Whisper wants to bring more of its people here. Apparently, there are dozens of dimensional refugees scattered across the galaxy, hiding from species that see them as monsters. And now they'll have a safe haven, Hana mused. Thanks to one human tracker who bothered to listen. Communications Officer Rena's voice crackled over the intercom. Commander, transport ship is ready for departure. Passenger Jin to the landing dock. As Jin gathered his simple belongings, Whisper's massive form materialized near the observation window. Its alien features had grown more stable over the past weeks, as if proximity to caring beings had healed some dimensional trauma. Thanks, Father Boss, Whisper said to Jin, its voice carrying deep gratitude. You give me home. You give me family. Jin nodded solemnly. Take care of them, Whisper. They're good people. Just frightened sometimes. I protect small ones, Whisper promised. No more accidents. I learn careful. At the landing dock, the entire colony had gathered to see Jin off. Miners who had once cowered in terror now stood proudly beside their interdimensional colleague. Children who had grown up fearing the shadows now played games with Whisper's shifting forms. You saved us all, Hana said as they reached the transport. How can we ever repay you? Jin paused at the bottom of the loading ramp. Just remember, not every monster is evil. Sometimes they're just lost. He looked back at the thriving colony, where humans and aliens worked alongside a being from another dimension. And sometimes the most advanced solution is the oldest one. Which is treating strangers as friends until they prove otherwise. As the transport lifted off, carrying Jin back to his mountain home on Earth, Commander Hana watched from the control room. Whisper stood beside her, its presence now a source of comfort rather than fear. Thanks, Father Boss, Whisper said quietly, using the phrase that had once confused them all. Now they understood it perfectly: gratitude for acceptance, respect for leadership, and hope for continued friendship. In the months that followed, the mining colony became a model for interdimensional cooperation. Whisper's relatives began arriving, each one guided by stories of the small world where beings could live in peace regardless of their dimensional origin. And whenever new species arrived, afraid and misunderstood, the colonists would remember the lesson taught by a simple human tracker: sometimes the greatest wisdom comes not from the most advanced technology, but from the most basic compassion. The hunt had ended not with a kill, but with understanding. And that, Jin would have said, was exactly as it should be. The end.